Smash Mouth Sports, we are live. We just got done talking NBA playoffs. Now we're talking NFL offseason. The NFL never sleeps. I'm your host, as always, Preston Bailey. Like and subscribe to the channel. Smash that subscribe button. Cam Vieira's with me. Cam, how are you?
I'm doing well, Preston. I'm doing well.
As you can see on the thumbnail, I've seen a lot of different videos, but here's what I wanted to get into. I saw this on CBS Sports today. And I want to just name the top 10 coaches entering the 2021 season. You with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Number one. The number one coach did not win a Super Bowl this year. The number two coach did not win a Super Bowl this year. Neither did 3 or 4 or 5. The number one coach, according to CBS Sports, not my ranking, CBS, Andy Reid. What are your thoughts on that?
That doesn't really surprise me. He's been the best coach in the league over the balance of the last 3 years. If it weren't for D4, he would have been in the last 3 Super Bowls, winning one of them, probably 2 of them, because he probably would have beat that Rams team. But that doesn't really surprise me. Andy Reid's a great coach. He's probably the second best coach of the last 20 years. And right now, his team is the most dynamic team in the league. So that doesn't really surprise me.
Well, they're not the most dynamic team. The Bucs are the most dynamic team, but I see what you're saying. Number 2 is Bill Belichick.
I wouldn't have him that high.
Bill Belichick's overrated?
No, he's the greatest coach of all time, but I don't think he's one of the 2 or 3 best in the league right now. He did a bad job last year.
Bill Belichick is not one of the 2 or 3 best head coaches in the league.
Not anymore, I don't think, no.
Oh, sweet Jesus. What is that on your what team are you wearing?
Oh, I'm a Patriots fan. I'm being brutally honest with you. That's how I feel. I feel like last year was a
one bad season. We kick him out of the Hall of Fame.
He's still the greatest coach of all time. I don't dispute that. But there are coaches
in the
league.
Take away his rings?
No, there are coaches in the league right now that are better than him.
Okay, name them.
Andy Reid.
Okay, Andy Reid's not a better coach than Bill Belichick. Sorry.
Sean McVay. And you can make an argument, Sean Payton.
Okay. Wow, you are really hating on Bill Belichick.
Right now, not all time. There's a difference.
When did Bill Belichick last win a Super Bowl?
3 years ago.
Okay. And how many? Well, yeah. You could, first of all, Sean McVay is a great young coach. You clearly got a hard on for Sean McVay. That's why we put the video the way we did. That many people feel that Sean McVay and Matt Stafford are the combo that is on the biggest hot seat between quarterback and coach this year. So we're going to get to that. Well, there's no other way around it. We're just going to have to name the top 10 because you've gone off the rails here. You think Sean Payton is a better coach than Bill Belichick?
You can make an argument right now.
If I put Bill Belichick on last year's Saints team, would they have gone farther than they did with Sean Payton?
Probably.
They definitely would have. And they would have been better with Andy Reid. Sean Payton, no. So number 3 is John Harbaugh. Number 4 is Sean Payton. Number 5 is Sean McDermott.
Okay.
Number 6 is Sean McVay.
Okay.
Number 7 is Pete Carroll.
Makes sense.
Number 8 is Bruce Arians. Number 9 is Matt LaFleur. Number 10 is Mike Tomlin.
Okay. That all makes sense. I'm a little surprised that Kyle Shanahan's not in there, but that makes sense.
And how many playoff games did Kyle Shanahan win last year?
None.
Okay. I'm just saying, it's entering the 2021 season. Bill Belichick is still number 1. He's still the best coach. If I put Bill Belichick, he's a great coach. If I put him on the Chiefs, now you could say, well, Andy Reid built that team. Yes, Andy Reid built that team with Mahomes and Kelsey and all the guys. If I guarantee you this, I guarantee you, as much as I love Andy Reid, I guarantee you Bill Belichick would not have had the same game plan that Andy Reid did.
No, I would agree.
He would not have tried to pass 58 times against the Buccaneers, bringing all that pressure up the middle.
Because Bill Belichick's single greatest attribute is his adjustments. When he knows his original game plan isn't working, he adjusts.
Right. Now, we're going to find out this year if Bill Belichick, and I said this to many people, if he cannot figure out how to win 10 or 11 games this year.
This is the playoffs again, right?
Not just miss the playoffs. If he does, it's not about limping in. Okay, you can limp in with 8 wins, 9. You can limp in. If he does not win 9 or 10 games, he is going to have a major problem. Major.
I agree.
Bruce Arians should, even though I gave him some heat, he definitely should be in the top 5. I would definitely put him over Sean Payton. I would definitely put him over Sean McDermott, and I would definitely put him over John Harbaugh.
He did. I mean, look, we all
look at what he did. Now you could say it was all Brady, but he humbled himself.
It was a rough start, but he turned it around. He deferred to Brady.
He turned it around, and having Brady helps, but he turned it around.
And after that first Chiefs game, you guys didn't lose again.
Sean McDermott is a great coach. I'm not putting him 5th.
No, he's a great young coach, but just like Josh Allen, he's young and unproven.
He can't be over Sean McVay. He definitely can't be over Pete Carroll, and he definitely can't be over Bruce Arians.
I think that's a little bit of the shock value that he's doing it with Buffalo. I think he gets bonus points for doing it with a team that's been so bad.
You can give him bonus. We can give him bonus points, and we can give him bonus points. And I agree, he's getting a lot of bonus points because it's Buffalo, and Buffalo is not really a traditional power. I know they're there 4 years in the '90s, but they're not a traditional powerhouse team. They haven't been for 20 years.
Correct.
Year in and year out, a powerhouse team. He has done a great job. Sean McDermott could earn that spot. If Josh Allen obviously is great and he continues to grow, and this team gets to the AFC Championship game, they get to if they're able to take that next step. But they've got the Ravens in front of them, they got the Chiefs in front of them. They got a lot of teams in front of them.
We have more time to get into this, but Josh Allen's my pick for MVP this year.
Well, we're not going to get into that. Josh Allen could be the MVP, and I do think Josh Allen's great. I do love Josh Allen. I said that last year. Josh Allen's phenomenal.
Total package.
We don't want to hear about Josh Allen's package. Maybe we should have put that as a headline. But, but anyways, yeah, so that's the point with this, particular video. We're not going to go too long on this with Sean McVay and the rest of the guys. But really quickly, so would you agree that both Sean McVay and Stafford are on the hot seat this year?
I mean, I think there's a lot of expectations on them. I think that everyone is saying the Rams are the second team in the NFC, and I do agree with that. I think if there's any team in the NFC that can beat the Buccaneers, it is the Rams, because I think they're very good on both sides of the ball, and Matt Stafford's going to have a real coach for the first time in his career. So we'll see how that plays out.
Sean McVay's going to have a real quarterback, but at the end of the day, that's why I'm saying there's a lot of pressure, and I agree with many experts that are saying that because
a lot of pressure on the Rams.
I say the same exact thing that I said about the Patriots. I'm going to double down on the Rams. If this Rams team does not win 10 or 11 games, and what I'm saying, no, it's not about winning 8 or 9 games and limping into the playoffs. Right. I'm talking about 10 or 11, having a solid to very strong season, when 10
making the divisional round. Right,
making an impact. With this Rams team is stacked to the hills, and they don't have any draft picks. So they've spent a lot of money. So, again, this is kind of the culmination of 4, 5, 6 years of McVay and all the building, all this with Jeff Fisher and all the draft. A lot of that is coming into this season.
Haven't used the first-round pick since Jared Goff.
If it's the same team, 8 wins, 9 wins, and they're like, oh, well, Donald got injured and Kupp got injured, I don't want to hear about the excuses. I keep getting told Sean McVay is the greatest coach in sliced bread. Well, let's see it.
Correct.
Let's see it. His 1 year of greatness, he had Jared Goff on a bargain deal. He had a stacked roster with the 2 best D tackles in the game in Ndamukong Suh and Vita Vea.
Correct.
You know who else won the Super Bowl this last year? Ndamukong Suh.
Correct.
I'm noticing a trend. When you have a big D tackle that moves the pile, you got Vita Vea, you've got Ndamukong Suh, you got JPP, Devin White, the whole Shaq Barrett, the whole group. So I'm just saying, some things are traditional. You win with the guys up front, the O-line and the D-line. It still comes down to that no matter how fancy we get. Now, some of the other guys, I don't have the list in front of me here. I just saw it quickly yesterday. Justin Fields is, many people believe Justin Fields is on the hot seat. As far as just we're talking about expectations is kind of how they're judging this.
No, and I can see that. I mean, the Bears,
the coach and the player.
Matt Nagy's definitely on the hot seat. If Matt Nagy misses the playoffs, he's probably out in Chicago. But Justin Fields, look, there's a lot of pressure on. That's one of the marquee franchises in the league. They haven't had a quarterback since the 30s.
And Sid Luckman.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, as we all mock Jay Cutler, and rightfully so, but he's not just the best quarterback in recent Bears history. There's not a close second. So
that's true. And to be fair, we have to look at a lot of these teams, the Bears and some of these other historic teams. They didn't. The passing era is the last 8 or 10 years. I know Dan Marino had a couple good years. Before these last 12, years, nobody threw for 5,000 yards besides Dan Marino. I mean, pretty much nobody did it. You had Dan Marino and Kurt Warner throwing all these yards. Not a lot of other guys did.
No, of course, 100%. But
like and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and last take, Cam, before we wrap this up.
No, but you're right. There's a lot of pressure on Justin Fields. That's all I was going to say. A lot of pressure on him because he needs to be the savior for the Bears organization that Mitch Trubisky wasn't.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on that list, I believe Shanahan and Trey Lance was about hot seat, but they used hot seat as more as pressure. It wasn't hot seat like we're going to fire it. It was hot seat like the pressure with a high draft pick or high expectations, so on and so forth. Also, Zach Wilson and Robert Saleh. Because if Zach Wilson comes in and they win 2 or 3 games again, Robert Saleh is going to say, all this hype about Robert Saleh, you're still winning 2 or 3 games.
And on Shanahan and Fields, there's a lot on that one because
Shanahan and Lance.
Shanahan and Lance, you're right, my mistake. Because when do you time because Jimmy Garoppolo is going to start the year. There's no two ways about that. It's when do you time the transition? And now with Garoppolo's health injury, the decision might be taken out of their hands. So we'll see what happens there. But if you have to time that transition from Garoppolo to Lance right, you have to know when it's going wrong.
Well, I'll tell you when it's right. I don't even need to see the team. I'll tell you when, because it goes back to my football view and how I view young quarterbacks.
It's next year.
No. Here, hold on. No, here's how I view it. What I'm saying is, don't be shocked if here we go. We got. I appreciate it, Lance. Subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you coming in, Dave. So don't be shocked if Lance starts week 1. You know, that could happen. I don't see that happening, but it could happen. Here is my theory about that. My theory is this. We appreciate the call, Dave. We appreciate everybody dialing in. My theory is don't rush the high-profile first-round rookie. Don't rush him. This sounds horrible to say this, and I don't mean this as callous as it sounds. If you're going to sacrifice somebody in your San Fran, you sacrifice Jimmy G. Jimmy G. Oh, this is Dave. Oh, what's up, Dave? What's up, Dave? This is your cousin, son. Your cousin. So, and I love how I'm supposed to know that. With everything going on here. So, we appreciate Dave calling in.
Thanks, Dave.
But, but anyways, what I was saying about everything, what's up, Dave, is this. He's going crazy in the chat. I'm not going to load all the comments. But what I was saying is this. With the situation with young quarterbacks, okay, why rush Trey? There's no benefit of rushing Trey Lance in. So let me just say this. The 49ers have a tough schedule. The 49ers, off the top of my head,
they're in a brutal division. They're not they're loaded, but they're not loaded. What I mean by that is they've got a good roster, but they've got Seattle. They got the Rams. I mean, they still might be the worst team in that division. I was just going to say that. As good as they are, they still might be the 4th team in that division behind the Rams, Seahawks, and Cardinals.
So here's my take on them. 8 games in, they're going to be 3-5.
Correct.
Potentially. They could be 5-3, but I'm projecting they could be 3-5 or 4-4. If they're 3-5, if they're 4-4 or worse, that is when you make the move to Trey Lance, if he's ready, in my opinion.
That's what Colin Cowherd did this a few weeks ago. He gave all 5 first-round rookie quarterbacks when they're going to start. He says Lawrence and Wilson will start week 1. He thinks that Fields will take over by week 5. Lance, it was the middle of the year, week 8, and he said Mac Jones is going to redshirt the entire year.
Right. Mac Jones. That was, yes, I can't believe I forgot about Mac Jones, but that was the other guy that I wrote down that Bill Belichick's in the hot seat, not really in the hot seat, but kind of in the hot seat. He's in the hot seat because of expectations. He's in the hot seat because of all the receivers.
And how much Brady embarrassed him.
Well, Brady embarrassed him, but the money in the tight ends. Who's your big-time guy?
Henry and Smith.
No. Your defensive end, Judon.
Oh, Matt Judon, yep.
Matt Judon is your guy. So yeah, Matt Judon, everything. You guys have a lot of money and a lot of guys tied up. So
correct.
Oh, here we go. We'll put this in because Dave can't seem to contain himself. He's just going crazy here. Read that.
Scam can't throw Mac. No, I agree with him. Look, as a Patriots fan, I want no part of Cam Newton on the field. I personally would start Jarrett Stidham the first few weeks because I don't want Mac Jones to be rushed. I certainly don't want Mac Jones playing Tom Brady in week 4. But I want no part of Cam Newton either.
Well, and you don't want him playing in week 4 because you're afraid Mac Jones is going to get embarrassed?
I want Mac Jones as far away from Tom Brady as humanly possible because Tom Brady's already over his shoulder enough The 2 days after the draft, he was on the cover of the Boston Globe with Brady's picture over his shoulder. Brady's going to be over this guy's shoulder his entire career because, for all intents and purposes, he's Brady's successor. It's not Cam Newton. I want as little pressure on him as involves Brady as possible. I wouldn't even have him in the stadium week 4. Send him to Hawaii on vacation.
Well, that's a bit ridiculous. That's not. I mean, look, Mac Jones is a first-round pick for a reason. Mac Jones is a national champion for a reason. Mac Jones has got a lot of talent. Now, if Mac Jones doesn't pan out, he doesn't pan out. But what I was saying with Bill Belichick, the pressure with all the money they spent on Judon, all the money they spent on the tight ends, all the money they spent on everything they spent money on. They got to get. I don't care what the quarterback's name is. Don't care what his name is. Whether it's Jarrett Stidham, Cam Newton, Mac Jones, whether it's all three of them, whether they do something crazy and they run Cam Newton in short yardage and goal line and use him as their hybrid, whatever. They better win 10 or 11 games.
I agree.
Because if this team, this stacked roster, wins 8 wins or less, there's going to be hell to pay in New England.
1-0 Tampa.
The avalanche is going to come for Bill Belichick. I'm not saying they're going to fire him, but I'm saying New England is going to get very, very rowdy.
Oh, I agree. I mean, look, he's already looks like a fool enough. By the way, the Lightning just took a 1-0 lead. He looks like Tom Brady could not have embarrassed Bill Belichick any more than he did last year, because Bill Belichick was like, it's my philosophy, it's my organization, my scheming that makes us who we are. Brady leaves, he goes to Tampa and wins the Super Bowl, and Belichick goes 7-9. So he needs to respond. Now, he's not going to look. The Patriots aren't a Super Bowl caliber team. I don't say they are. I say I'll be happy with a season between 10 and 11 wins and a playoff win, hopefully. But he needs to respond so he is in the hot seat. Absolutely.
Like and subscribe to the channel. Last thing, we're going to wrap this up. We'll give Dave one of the final words here. Dave's going crazy here, Coach Dave. He says they're going to go 11-6. That's probably about right.
They'll be second in the division because Buffalo's going to win the division. I agree.
Now, I understand the Patriots do have a loaded roster, but I hate to be the devil's advocate. They do have a good offensive line. They have an okay defensive line. It's not great. It's okay.
They get some real linebackers this year with Hightower, Noy.
They've got some good linebackers.
They need
Stephon Gilmore is not happy. So their corners and DBs are not as great as they have been in years past. They're getting a little bit older with Stephon Gilmore. He's not happy. A couple of the guys they lost. I'm just saying that having 2 great tight ends is great, but the receivers that they got, Kendrick Bourne and Jason Bourne and all the Bournes is not going to get you where you want to go. I mean, they're okay and they're better, but let's be real. Who do they have? They have Kendrick Bourne, and who's their other guys?
Nelson Aguilar.
Nelson Aguilar's fine. He's fine, but their team they're all number 2s.
Well, let me ask you this.
They don't have a number 1.
I agree. Let me ask you this. The Bills are the best team in that division. The Bills are going to win that division. I think we all agree on that. In your opinion, will the Patriots be better than the Dolphins?
I would say yes.
Okay, I'm glad to hear you say that.
Only because the Dolphins have Tua.
The quarterback's going to hold the Dolphins back.
And that's my criticism on New England. They don't have a quarterback.
Right, it's Cam Newton.
Jarrett Stidham's a backup. Cam Newton is damaged goods at this point. And Mac Jones has got a long way to go.
Correct.
Yeah. Tua's not what people think. Well, Tua's what I thought he was. I never liked Tua. You're not going to talk to one person on planet Earth that was more anti-Tua than me. He's small, he's diminutive, and he's stupid. I cannot think of a worse check mark than that. Because even if he was stupid, but if he was Cam Newton's size, 6'5", 240, 250, you could work with a guy like that.
And what was your comment if Brian Flores deep down wants to fire his scouts because he didn't take Justin Herbert?
He does want to fire. In fact, I would not blame Brian Flores if he punches all of his scouts right in the face.
There we go.
Like and subscribe. Thanks again.
Like and subscribe. Thank you.
Appreciate you calling in, Dave. We'll get you on the show next week, Dave. Get your guys together. Get your team together. Get your football team ready.